to access his camera.
In this video, I will reveal Mastermind's AI magic tricks on America's Got Talent. Here's a quick recap of what happened. Mastermind introduces himself as a modern-day AI magician. He asks Howie to pass his phone to Sophia, then focuses on the passcode and instantly unlocks it. Waving his hand, he opens the camera app and tells Sophia to point it at Mel B's hands. Then, Simon's glasses are placed there, and he's asked to slowly slide his finger across the screen, making the glasses mysteriously lift from Mel B's hands, startling the judges. The magician then has Howie activate the phone's AI assistant and create a sentence using a 3-word command. Meanwhile, he asks the judges and randomly selected audience members to each think of a positive word. Afterward, he tells Simon to close his eyes and stop him at any point as he points his hand. He walks over to the row where Simon stopped him and has them share the words they were thinking of. The resulting words form a sentence, and when compared to the sentence the AI had randomly generated, it turns out to be an exact match. For the finale, Mastermind reveals that taking the first letter of each word spells out his name, completely blowing everyone's mind. So, what's the secret here? Well, before I get into how he was able to control Howie's phone and everyone's thoughts, I'll quickly explain how the glasses trick works. The secret lies in an extremely thin, elastic thread worn on the performer's wrist. When the magician is ready, he shifts the loop from his wrist to his palm, creating a gap between the palm and the thread. After taking Simon's glasses, he subtly places the left arm of the glasses into the loop and then carefully rests them on Melby's hand. This is why his left hand doesn't move far from the glasses. Any movement could detach the loop or reveal the secret. By directing attention to the camera screen, he distracts the audience from his left hand. As he slowly lifts his hand, he's able to raise and flip the glasses. But how did the ChatGPT trick work? At first glance, it almost looks like Mastermind has built his own version of ChatGPT that can tap into people's thoughts, or invented some advanced AI that wirelessly unlocks phones and reads minds. You might think this isn't completely impossible, since real technologies exist that detect brain signals and interpret intentions. For example, researchers developed EEG headsets that let people with severe disabilities control a cursor or type by thinking, as shown in the BrainGate neural interface system. Companies like Neuralink have also demonstrated early experiments where brain signals can wirelessly control devices, though this still requires implanted sensors or specialized headsets. Of course, in Mastermind's case, the judges aren't wearing any electrodes, which is your first clue that no real AI brain reading is happening. If you watch closely for subtle hints during the performance, you can start to piece together how he pulled it off. First of all, if you pay attention here, what you were seeing on the phone wasn't the real lock screen at all. It's a fake overlay, which is basically a full-screen image or web page designed to look exactly like a normal lock screen. The design copies the font, the battery icon, etc., so it's almost impossible to spot the difference at a glance. But behind that layer, the phone was actually fully unlocked and sitting on a prepared web page. Now, I know this makes you question a lot of things. First of all, isn't the phone borrowed from Howie? If I'm saying that the phone is fully unlocked and sitting on a prepared web page, it either means Howie is in on the trick, or the entire act is staged. Well, to answer that, you need to understand that America's Got Talent is a reality TV show. And this isn't the first time the production team has assisted a magician to make their act look more impressive than it really is. Captain Disillusion has also pointed this out in his videos.
Wait a minute. Are we really saying that the producers of this competition, which celebrates the art of live performance, modify what happens on stage with editing tricks to make contestants seem better or worse than they did in real life to suit the dramatic needs of the program? Well, yeah. It's a reality show. It's all fake. They can do whatever they want. They once made a sideshow magic act look like a world-class impossible illusion by simply editing out a major giveaway part of it.
So this prepared web page setup doesn't just magically appear out of nowhere. In high-budget productions like this, the magician and the production team have plenty of time to arrange everything behind the scenes. What usually happens is that the judges are asked to hand over their phones for security reasons or to check something routine. And during that window, the magician's assistants quietly borrow the device. The phone is unlocked by the producers with the judge's consent, often while the judge is busy with rehearsal or makeup, and set up so it's ready to perform exactly as planned once the cameras are rolling. But just knowing that the producers were involved doesn't actually explain how the phone was prepared to look so convincing. So let's break down exactly how this works. Dynamo performed a trick that utilizes a very similar method to what Mastermind used in his performance.
Wait, what?
In that trick, Dynamo had a participant think of any word in their mind, and after reading their mind, he asked them to look at his Wi-Fi panel on his phone and focus on it. After a few seconds, his phone screen started to flicker, and all the Wi-Fi names showed the thought of word they were thinking of. Well, this trick is called Hacker, which was created by the French twins, and here's how it works. This here is a small portable Wi-Fi device that creates its own private network, completely separate from the regular internet. Once I connect my phone to this network and type in the specific IP address assigned to the device, I can load a local web page. This web page, as you can see, is saved on my home screen. As a result, when I tap on it, it opens just like an app. By typing in any particular set of instructions, for example, if I want the Wi-Fi signals to display a specific playing card, I can make it appear instantly. This same principle is what Mastermind relied on. After the phone was connected backstage to his hidden Wi-Fi device, he opened a custom-built web page designed to look exactly like ChatGPT. From that moment on, everything you saw on the screen was controlled entirely by him because of the setup. The response to the prompt, "Write any sentence," as you can see on Howie's screen, was programmed so that no matter what was typed in, it would display the answer he wanted the judges to see. I know at this point some of you are still skeptical of my explanation, so I have more evidence. If you pay attention to the top of the phone screen, you can spot clues proving this wasn't the actual ChatGPT app. The most obvious giveaway is the large banner that says, "Get the official app" by OpenAI, which only appears if you're using a web browser, not an installed application. Compare this to opening the real ChatGPT app on your phone, and you'll see the difference immediately. These subtle details are how you can tell that what you were seeing was just a browser page disguised as something more impressive. Another suspicious thing the producers of the show did was blur out the address bar. They didn't have any problem showing that ChatGPT was open. If they were worried about advertising it for free, they would have blurred out the ChatGPT logo or the text as well. But why specifically blur out the URL bar? It's simply because, just like I mentioned earlier, you have to type in a specific set of numbers, which is the IP address, similar to the hacker trick. And instead of showing chatgpt.com, the IP address would have been clearly visible, instantly giving away the method. That's why the producers had to hide it. The portable Wi-Fi server Mastermind uses has a custom integrated Bluetooth controller, which are easy to buy on sites like AliExpress. These gadgets allow the magician to press a hidden button to trigger different functions, opening the camera app or revealing text, without ever touching the phone directly. This explains why, if you watch closely, you'll notice that Mastermind's left hand stays by his side almost the entire time and appears to be gripping something with a small blue indicator light on it, while his right hand is raised and gesturing toward the phone to create the illusion that he's controlling it remotely with his mind. In reality, the left hand is the one silently activating each phase of the routine. But we're still not done yet, because I have yet to explain how he came up with that sentence ChatGPT supposedly produced. Now let's get something straight. It wasn't Simon who actually stopped Mastermind at that particular row. In fact, it was Mastermind himself who chose to stop there. This is known as a timing force, and it was also used in Mark Spellman's trick, where he asked the judge to call out "stop" anywhere.
And just say the word stop.
Stop.
When in reality he stopped on his own at a specific spot in the book. The same thing happened here. It didn't matter where Simon was going to say stop. Mastermind was always going to roughly point to that area and pick that row. Now, does that mean everyone in that row was in on it? No, they weren't. But they were unknowingly made part of the trick. Basically, before the show, this particular row of people was approached by the magician and asked to freely select a word from either a Ziploc bag or something similar to how Blake Vogt performed his trick on Fool Us. They were forced into choosing those specific words and assigned them, while believing they were picking random words freely, when in reality they were guided into them one by one, because if any of you are assuming that no, they really did think of any random word, then I want you to pay attention to what the magician actually said about the type of word they should be thinking of, which he mentioned right here.
Any word that means something positive to you.
Do the words many, start, or through sound like anything positive to anyone? I mean, those aren't even words someone would naturally make up. They're not even adjectives or typical descriptive positive words. And that's how every layer of this so-called mind-reading routine was carefully set up in advance to look like an impossible demonstration of AI, when it was really just a combination of technology, timing, and classic psychological misdirection. Behind this mask, only the truth remains till we meet again.